What I'm asking you is, as an expert, when people see that, they are hearing other experts say
Yeah.
that there's a problem, and the real newsy problem that I was looking to use for that question is the popularity of the 13, 14-year-olds in these classrooms. 2 years ago, the teacher didn't even know what a joule was. So they're really puffing it. Now the teachers know what a joule is, and but this is a real fight on the ground. So go ahead.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's throw some facts at the issue, as much as that's out of style much these days. But if we look at any sort of health intervention, anything we do to try to improve well-being, there's a risk of harm. There's a risk of unintended consequences. Seatbelts will save a lot of lives. They'll kill somebody. Pharmaceutical products save an awful lot of lives. They kill some people. They harm some people. They make some people sick. Vaccinations, can cause harm for some people. I mean, anything we do has risks. And the big goal in public health should be, how do you reduce those risks as much as you can?
Well, can I interrupt and say, nobody wants a public anything to do anything about that. We want the private sector with deadly, backstabbing competition on Wall Street to do it the American way. We want to do a product that goes viral because it's awesome. That's how we do it. We don't do it. We don't want to do it with the public health anybody. They're trouble, these people. They're no good. Public health has been no good for our generation. We don't believe in it in any way. I understand they're probably a little more benevolent in Canada toward authority, but we despise our public health authorities. They've done nothing to save anybody of anything, and they're incompetent every time we have a crisis. So no offense. We would like to solve it, but not with those dopes. We want to solve it. We want to solve it with the top of the class, brilliant people, not the dopes you find in public health. So, my apology. I didn't mean to derail it.
Well, I mean, certainly on issues of vaping, you're absolutely right. Public health authorities, particularly in the United States, are actively misleading people, and that popcorn lung nonsense is an example of that. And the idea that there's this massive epidemic of young people. There are young people experimenting with this as they're experimenting with going to Starbucks and a whole lot of other things. We see very little regular use of vaping by young people other than young people who were smoking. But what we are seeing when you talk about the role of the market, the role of entrepreneurs, what we're seeing now is very similar to what we saw decades ago when stomach cancer was our leading cause of cancer death. And stomach cancer is really rare now. And what was the breakthrough in stomach cancer? It was private enterprise. It was refrigeration. It was giving consumers something they wanted because they didn't like eating tainted meat. They didn't like eating so many, highly salted, pickled, and smoked foods. They liked being able to get fresher food and food that didn't go bad from the heat in the summer and freeze in the winter. And refrigeration did that for them, and people made money off making refrigerators. We've seen the same thing with auto safety. If you come up with a better airbag, you can get rich. You look at the tobacco market, and globally, it's $850 billion US dollars equivalent. Now, how much of that market would you need to get for a low-risk alternative in order to have an even odds chance of becoming a billionaire? And the answer is about 1/10,000th of it. So if we can do something like that, we have the ability to move people to far, far less hazardous products. We're seeing it with products like Zyn. We've seen it with snus in Sweden.